Well, first of all, thank you, Noel, for coming and giving us the opportunity to interview you. Maybe you could start by introducing yourself and where you work.
Yeah. So my name is Noel Mustafa. I work at Amnesty International. I work as a project officer on ethnic profiling, and we also monitor discrimination issues in the Netherlands. It's a domestic department where I work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for how long do you work there?
So I started working at Amnesty in 2015, January 2015, so over a year now. And I was hired for this project specifically.
All right.
All right. So could you tell us something about Amnesty International? What does it stand for?
Yeah. So Amnesty International is a human rights organization. So what we do is we hold governments accountable for human rights treaties that they sign if they do not uphold to them. So, for instance, anti-discrimination law. That's specifically my theme. So we check whether the Dutch government is upholding to all of its obligations, and if there is something that we think they should do more on this subject, we try to address that, and we try to have a case where it doesn't have to be only incidents. We try to have it should be more than incidents, indicating that there is a problem. Otherwise, we will only work on individual cases in incidents. So from that human rights framework, we lobby, for instance, look into remedies. For instance, if you're violated or if you're discriminated, are there sufficient remedies and sufficient mechanisms for you to complain and to get justice, basically. Yeah. And it's a really big organization. To give you an overview it's an international organization, and the headquarters is based in London. And we are one of the, I think, after London, Amnesty Netherlands is the biggest Amnesty section in the world.
Really?
Yeah. We have the most members. It's a member-based organization, so that means that the members contribute financially, and they also have a strong input in what we do, the themes that we address, etc.
So it's not government funded, right?
No. So basically, the whole idea is that we are
Independent.
Yeah, independent financially, but also not influenced by political views and not influenced by religious views. So it's really independent. But I also want to say that we have one department that focuses on human rights education, and that is for several educational projects. They are co-funded by the ministry, but that's really specific. And I cannot say we're really independent if there is a part of it that gets money from the government, but it's not. It's unusual.
All right.
Yeah.
That's clear.
Well, how did you get involved with Amnesty International?
So I studied in Groningen, and the first time that I knew Amnesty from my studies, and then I was looking for things to do as extra, and I ended up volunteering for Amnesty student group in Groningen, and I did a lot of things. I organized Glazenhuis awards. And after that, I sort of thought I would never get an opportunity
To work there?
Yeah, to work there. I was like, yeah, it's such a big organization, and who am I to,
Yeah.
And then by 2014, in the summer, I think in September somewhere, they had a vacancy. And I did, before that, I had for ethnic profiling, and before that I was working on ethnic profiling, the criminality of youth, etc. And a lot of people that I know were like, oh, you have to apply for this job. And
Why do you think that people told you that?
because they knew that I work with human rights, that human rights was sort of my subject, but also specifically on youth and crime. That was something that I was interested in that period. And but I was really afraid of applying, because I mean, I graduated I think 2 years before that, and I didn't have a lot of work experience,
And you're always critical about yourself,
About yourself,
and someone
exactly.
else can see your real skills. and
exactly. So I
strengths.
was like, I don't think they will hire me. Nevertheless, people pushed me, and I basically applied on the day of the deadline.
Oh, really? Oh, so you know how it is to.
So I was really not expecting to get to hear anything from them.
Yeah.
And they told me, they emailed me that they would invite people on a Monday, and I didn't for the interview. And on Friday I hadn't heard anything from them, so I was like, okay, they will not come. And then they called me on Monday, like around 7 p.m. and I was like, what the hell? I didn't recognize the number, so I picked up like really lame.
Not professional at all.
Not professional at all. And then they were like, you can come in for an interview, and I went in, and I basically expected, still at the interview, I wasn't expected to get hired or anything. I was like, they will never hire me. Let me just be critical and let me just talk to them.
Well, you got it anyway.
Yeah, I got it.
You
So
came
it was
with
low
low
expectations. Yeah, with low
and
expectations, and then
here
I
you are
got it.
now.
Yeah, so it's an awesome job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the refugee crisis has been going on for quite some time now. How does Amnesty International get involved with the issue?
Yeah. So to give you an overview, I work at the domestic department. We have different sections, and the domestic department exists of I think 4 or 5 people, and me and another colleague do anti-discrimination issues, and then we have two paid staff and researchers depending on the topic on migration and refugees, and they have been focusing on deportation laws of migrants, and they are also involved with the refugee crisis in Europe. So that's specifically that department, but also we have another. Our campaigning and mobilization department is at this moment working on a campaign addressing this issue, because it's something that is really relevant.
It's ongoing.
It's ongoing, and you should act on that. So you cannot. And Amnesty is really research based, so they usually do extensive research, a paper, and then they take a point of view, and then they campaign.
Takes time.
But this is, you have to act now. So we have that campaign coming up. We did a campaign, I don't know if you saw, so the Netherlands is now the voorzitter of the EU, is the chair of the EU for this 6 months. And we did a campaign on the first day that they were in The Hague, the EU leaders and the ministers, talking about this issue. We did a campaign where we had it was in Amsterdam, right? And where we had a boat, filled it with fake dolls and stuff, sort of recreated the
Sort of guerrilla marketing.
Exactly, and then we were like, don't think of the polls or getting elected, but think of how you will be mentioned in the history books.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it really worked, because it got picked up and it was in news and everything. So that's to create more awareness, how to be on top of things next to research that we do.
So what is the most important thing an organization must do when something like this occurs, like a big crisis?
Yeah, I think definitely lobbying, campaigning,